In this video, I want to show you step by step how you can use the conditional formatting feature in your Google Sheets projects. So before we continue the video, I highly recommend that you watch my previous video where I explained how to use the if function and also the logical expressions, because you first of all need to be familiar with those two subjects before learning how to use the conditional formatting. So I really recommend that you pause the video, go and watch my previous video talking about the if function and the logical expressions. And when you are familiar with those topics, come back and learn how you can use the conditional formatting. So if you continue watching this video, this means that you are already familiar with the if function and the logical expressions. All right, perfect. So now let's see how we can use the conditional formatting in Google Sheets. So first of all, I want to explain to you why we use the conditional formatting. The conditional formatting is a Google Sheet features that allows you to apply a certain formatting on a specific range of cells based on a condition. So if the condition is true, you apply a certain formatting on a specific range of cells. If the condition is false, you basically do nothing, okay? So in order to use the conditional formatting feature, you need to go to the document menu in the top, click on format, and then here in this menu you can choose the conditional formatting. And as you can see in the right side of the screen, we have the conditional formatting menu where we can set up our conditional formatting rules. Okay, so let's start with a basic example. Okay, this is going to be the first example of this video. It's going to be easy and basic in order to understand quickly and easily how the conditional formatting works. So in our first example, let's say, for example, that we want to change the fill color of the cell if it's empty. Okay, so let's say, for example, that we want to check if the cell L4 is empty. So in this case, we need to modify the apply to range and put here L4. So you can do that by typing L4 here, or maybe you can just click on this button and then you can select the cell L4, press on enter, and as you can see, the apply to range is going to be L4. So this is the first step of our conditional formatting rule. Now, the second step is to choose the rule, okay? So you can find here a menu with different rules that you can use in your conditional formatting setup. And the rule that we want to use now is empty. So with this rule, you will test if the cell that you have already selected here, so it can be a cell or a range, is empty. In our case, as you can see, Google Sheets has already applied a specific formatting for this cell because the cell is empty. So this is the second step. Now, in the third step, what you can do is change the formatting style. So rather than fill in the color, the cell color with green, let's use the red color. Okay, so as you can see here, the cell's fill color is now red. So in order to test if our conditional rule is correctly set up, let's try to input a text here. So when we press on enter, there you go. The conditional formatting is no longer applied because the rule is no longer correct. Okay. When Google Sheets tries to test if the cell L4 is empty or not, the result is going to be false because the cell is not empty. So we don't apply the conditional formatting. And if we remove the text, as you can see, the conditional formatting is automatically applied. All right, perfect. Now that we have understood the basics of the conditional formatting, let's see how we can use this amazing feature inside a real life example. In the screen, I have some sales data where we can see, for example, the order number, order date. We have also some information about the product, the price, total value, the city where the sale was made, etc. Okay, and this column was created in my last video where I explained step by step how you can use the if function in order to test, for example, if the total value of the sale is 200. So if this is the case, we print yes. If it's not the case, we display no. Okay, so let's add, for example, a conditional formatting to our column over here, and let's say, for example, that we want to change the fill color of the cell where the total value is greater than 200. So we want to basically test if the cell equals to yes. So if this is the case, we want to change the fill color and turn it into green, for example. So in order to do that, we can open our conditional formatting menu over here, and we want to apply this conditional formatting rule for all the J column. Okay, so it's going to be the range from J to J. This means that we want to apply this conditional formatting to all the column J, or all the cells in the cells in the column J. Okay, perfect. So when we change the apply to range, you can already see that Google Sheets is already applying the default rule, which is not empty. And as you can see, this is the case. The cells in the column J are not empty. This is why a specific conditional formatting is applied, which is to change the fill color of the cells and make it green. Now, this is not the rule that we want to apply. We want to test if the content of the cell is equal to yes. So we go to the format rules and we select text is exactly, and here we can choose yes. So when we do that, as you can see, Google Sheets has already updated our conditional formatting rule, and as you can see in the screen, when the cell is equal to yes, Google Sheets is applying this conditional formatting. So it's basically changing the fill color of the cell and making it green. We can also, for example, make the text bold, change the color text, make it white, etc. Okay? For the moment, I will stick with only changing the fill color to green. Okay? Perfect. Now, let's click on done, and let's say, for example, that we want to also change the fill color of the cells where the total value is inferior than 200. So we basically want to search for the cells where the value is equal to no and make the fill color red, for example. So in this case, we can click on add another rule, and on the apply to range, we will select still the column J, but this time we want to test if the text is exactly no, and we want to change the fill color and make it red. So as you can see now, when the total value is less than 200, so basically when the content of the cell in the column J is equal to no, the fill color is going to be red. Now, let's try to apply, for example, a conditional formatting for all the row rather than applying it to only one cell. So in this case, what we can do is modify, for example, the rule that we have already created. And if we want to apply the conditional formatting for all the row, we need to select all the columns, not only the column J. Okay, so in this case, we'll select all the columns from column A to column J. Perfect. Now, in this case, what we need to do is, rather than using the text is exactly function, we will use a custom formula to do this. And the custom formula is going to be if the content of the column J is equal to yes. So as you can see, in this test, we are testing if the cell G1 equal to yes. So if this is the case, I want you to change the color of all the row. Now, in order to apply this to all the rows of our table, we need to indicate here the dollar sign, which allows Google Sheets to understand that for the first row, you want to use the cell J1. For the second row, you want to use the cell J2. For the third row, you want to use the cell J3, and so on for the other rules. And as you can see here, when the total value is higher than $200, all the row is in green. In this video, I showed you step by step how you can use the conditional formatting in Google Sheets. We started with a simple example to test if a cell is empty or not. And we also worked on 3 different examples, and we learned how to use the conditional formatting on a real life data set. So hopefully by the end of this video, you are now able to use these amazing features in your Google Sheets projects.